I have to say that I'm a little bit nervous about this video because it may work or not, but we are very close to start making the MMORPG, like the 3D part of it, the art, the part that you can actually see a character moving across the screen, and that's amazing. But there is only one thing left for us to do here before that, and that's why I'm a little bit nervous. So let me talk to you. We need to do TCP, of course, we need to do UDP connection, because the main part of the server are gonna work using TCP, like when the player sends a message, when he connects and stuff like that. But the rest, the more like flawed message, we're gonna be sent using TCP, using UDP. I'm sorry. In other words, if you move your character around, this information needs to be sent to the server using UDP and vice versa. And the problem here that I'm a little bit nervous is that in UDP you don't have a connection, so I'm not sure what you're gonna do. I have a plan here, and we're gonna start to develop this plan right now, but it may not work. So let's figure that out, okay? So in the client, in this server, actually, the game server, the first thing that I'm gonna do is to create the UDP connection. So I'm here with the server opened, and let me go ahead and check if I have a port and an IP. Here we go. And I'm gonna create a sock UDP. Okay, that it's basically the same thing as the normal socket, except that. So I'm gonna use AF INET, and then I'm gonna do here. Here's the difference. Instead of the string, I use sock dgram. Okay, so this is the main difference between the UDP and the TCP. And then I want to bind it to an address, and I'm gonna bind it to the same address that I did in my TCP one. So sock, self.sock UDP.bind address. Okay, and now what I'm a little bit worried about is that I'm not sure if I bind it to an address, can I send messages to it? Because I know that you need to bind if you want to receive a message, but I'm not sure. Let's figure that out right now. We must figure that out. So I'm gonna create a new function in my server, a new method here, that is probably gonna be like send UDP, okay? And it receives two stuff here. The first is the message, again, bytes, and the second stuff is the address to send. Because in UDP, since there's no connection, when you do self.sock UDP, you need to send to someone, okay? You cannot simply send a message. You need to send to someone. And I'm gonna pass the message and the poll and the address here. So here's the address, okay? So in theory, if I wanna send a message to everyone connected, I can simply pass the address, and you already have the address in a client handle here. But this is like the connection, the TCP connection address. But technically, I can use that to send an UDP message as soon as I open an UDP socket in the client side. So that's my theory. Let's figure that out, okay? We also need another thread, and I don't think this is planned. Let me go ahead in the server architecture. Yes, we do have here planned an UDP listener, okay? So we need to create the UDP listener right now. So I have here in the game server, I probably have accept connections. Here we go. And I'm gonna create another method here called UDP listener. And again, it's gonna block and listen to the UDP. So here you go. I have an UDP listener and a while loop with the self running, and I'm gonna try to have a new message. And this we're gonna be a little bit different, because instead of the connection and the address, you're gonna receive the message directly and then the address. This is how how UDP works. So self.sock UDP.receive from, and I'm gonna pass 1024 bytes. Okay, this is the buffer size, and I may print this for now. I know. Don't we do? Let me use the terminal. So terminal.log message. Let me do new UDP message. Here we go. And then in the accept case, well, I think I will literally stop the server. I will shut down the server because something happened. Okay, and I need to close the sock UDP as well when I close the TCP. So let me figure out where I'm closing the sock. Here we go. So let me do self.sock udp.close. I'm closing this socket as well. And of course, last but not least, I need to start the thread UDP listener. That are going to be a threading.thread target equals to self.udp listener. And then I'm going to start it. And here I'm going to join it. So I think that's enough for now. And you're going to be able to listen to the UDP connection. And the client needs to have another UDP stuff. Okay. And I'm going to do basically the same. There's sock UDP equals to socket.socket socket AF inet socket and then sock degram. And then this is where I'm a little bit nervous about. I'm thinking to bind this socket as well, like bind, but instead of like a regular address, I'm thinking to bind this to the self.sock.get socket name. Okay, that may work or not. And I'm gonna create a new method here. Oh, again, let me do sock. Let me figure out where I'm closing this, and I'm gonna close the UDP socket as well. Here we go. And let me create a new listen to UDP. And I think I can do the same thing that I did in my server, right? With this. So let me copy and paste because I have the self.running. And well, I think that's enough. That may work or not, I'm not sure. So let's try that, okay? And when the user, and just to test that this is working, in the UDP listener of the server, when I receive a new message, I'm gonna iterate. So with self.connections lock for connection in self.connections, and I'm gonna self.send UDP with the same message that we receive. So I'm gonna try to make it like an echo server. I don't know how to pronounce that. Oh my god, it's like, this is how to type. I don't remember how to pronounce that. But anyways, and in the address, I'm gonna do connection.address. Okay, so I'm gonna try to send when the user sends a message using UDP, I'm gonna try to send it back to every connected user. That may work. Okay, if connection dot, I don't remember, is vile. Never mind, I'll send it anyways. And now in the game, in the test game, oh, the client needs to have, I need to start this listening to UDP. So let me go ahead here. In the start, I'm gonna start a new thread, self. Can be the same thing here, honestly. UDP, so this is another thread, and listen to UDP. Here we go. And then I will join this thread in the shutdown of the client. Now I can send UDP and now we basically need to send a message from the client to the server, and the way that I'm gonna do this, it will be pretty much the same that I'm doing this, except that in the address, I'm not receiving the address because I kind of know the address of the server. The address of the server is literally server address that we have here. So let me change this to server address, and that may work, okay? I think that we're gonna work. And here, just to make things a little bit more fun, I'm gonna do like if parts 0 equals to UDP. I'm literally gonna send the rest of this using TCP, okay? So I'm gonna do message equals to input dot replace parts 0 and the white space with nothing, and then I'm gonna do client dot send UDP message. Let's try that, okay? So I'm gonna run this server, please work, yes, it's working. And then I'm gonna run the client test game. So I need to log in. So let me create a potato 123. Okay, it's logged in. And now if I send a regular message, let me try to send UDP. No, I got an error. Oh, of course, because this is a string. Sorry, my bad. It's never gonna work. Let me close this. Here we go. This needs to be encoded, of course. Let me encode this to ASCII. This is just a test, okay? We're gonna use like the header and the stuff that we did before. I'm just like testing things out to make sure that this is gonna work. And I'm experimenting stuff live here with you guys. I'm not joking. This is literally I'm experimenting. If I run this, where's the CMD? Here we go. If I run this, it's gonna ask me for the login credentials. I'm sorry. Okay, it worked, and it's very bad that this worked, but again, it's okay. Let me try to send a UDP message. Please work. Yes, it worked, but the user is, well, I'm not sure if it worked, but the point is we are not having any error, but we are also not having what we expect, okay? I sent here like a new line and the server crashed. Not a good news. Why do you crash? I don't understand. Alright, took me a while, good lord. Have no idea, but it's finally here, and I was correct. Everything I did like worked, and the problem, you guys are not gonna believe that, but this is like something that I really had the same problem in the past. But first of all, let me show you. It's working, and I made the client send an UDP message if I start the phrase with UDP. So if I do UDP subscribe, you can see that I'm receiving a new UDP message, and I'm receiving here as well. So that's basically it. That's everything that we want. Let me quit this, and I will show you what I did, like what was my mistake. Let me quit this. Here we go. And well, the problem, and I have a bunch of commented out code that I need to refactor here, because I was like, oh my god, I can't have the same socket to send and receive apparently, so I created an input and an output. Spoiler, well, you can have. Let me actually refactor that. First of all, let me show you what is the problem. What was the problem here? The problem was that if you go back the video, I wrote like connections lock, and then this was raising an error. But since this echo was inside this try and accept, I was not able to see the error, and then everything was like becoming a nightmare. So I basically put this out, and then I figure out what's going on, and I fix it, and everything worked so fine. Okay, and I had to change some stuff in the client as well, because when the server disconnects, the client crashes. So I changed that. Was not a huge problem. I just needed to close the UDP socket, and that's basically it. That's basically everything that I had to do. And by the way, let me actually go ahead and refactor this again, because I don't need 2 different sockets anymore. So let me only keep one socket, both in the client and in the server. Here I don't need 2 different sockets. As I said, only one, it's enough. Thanks God. So let me refactor this. And here we go. So I have very simple UDP stuff going on and working, which is amazing. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, and I'm not sure if this is like the best stuff in the world, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a list of UDP messages, and I'm gonna have to create a log for that probably. So I'm gonna do it here, threading.log. Here we go. And if you remember correctly, let me go back here. Client position and user position, they have the same data, and they are both using UDP. We already have that handling in this server, but I will literally ignore this part, because this is the only stuff that is UDP. Let me actually put here UDP, so we will be able to know that. Let me put a highlighted color, put in red. Oh, that's too much. Here we go. So I'm gonna leave it here, so it's gonna be clear to us that this is an UDP message, because I'm gonna handle that in a separate way. I wanna go ahead and write the game, so I'm gonna hush a little bit here. It's not a problem, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create this message log, and then when I receive the, I'm not gonna do this this stuff here, by the way. Let me actually delete. I'm not gonna delete this echo. But when I receive a message, I'm gonna actually lock UDP messages lock, and I'm gonna do self.udp messages .append, and I'm gonna append the message. Just like that, okay? It's important to do some validation here, because the user may hack and may use a hack to transfer the wrong ID. So I'm gonna do a to-do validate to make sure that the ID of the message actually correspond to this address. I'm gonna validate that later. That's why I'm gonna do a to do. But for now, I only log this and append this this message to the UDP messages. And why I'm doing that? Well, because I want to have a send UDP to all the messages. So def send UDP all. And this will basically iterate over everything, of course, and send this message. Okay, that's okay. That's good. But if the message is, I'm thinking here, if the message is known, it's gonna because this is a query, so send UDP query. Now I'm gonna lock the query, so with self.udp message lock, I'm gonna do for message in self.udp message. I'm gonna self.send UDP all, and I'm gonna send this message. And the last thing that I'm gonna do is reset the curio. And why? Because then in the tick of the server, so if you remember correctly, I have like the server.py, and I have a tick that does nothing, okay? And I'm gonna do self.send UDP QE. Every tick, I'm gonna send the positions of the player. And I can do like if count is equal, so if self.count is more than 16, I'm gonna send, I'm gonna reset the count. So I'm gonna send like the positions one time a second. And I think that's it. Let me go ahead and confirm that I'm doing everything correctly. And let me run the server again. So I have a server. Let me log in. And so I have a test game. Well, there's no messages here going on. Oh, I have an error. Let me fix that real quick. Here we go. I got like an invalid character here, so I just remove it from the random string. But if I log in, let me create A1 random stuff, and then let me send an UDP test, and then I'm gonna have to wait a little bit until because it was added to the list here. I'm literally thinking in this video. I'm sorry for that, but yeah, I need to think a lot. I don't know why. What is holding a get tick? Where's the tick rate? 1 tick per second. That's why. Set tick to 16. Here we go. Now I have a new UDP. Here we go. UDP. Eventually, I'm gonna have a new UDP. Here we go, because I was like running at 1 tick per second. That's why it wasn't working. But now, the important thing is it's working, and I can send the messages to the clients. Okay, can send a UDP message and receive it back. Something that I may do off camera is like this to do. I may fix this, and the other something that I may do is in the send, I may need to like validate if this connection is like valid. So let me see that. Like I only want to send this if the connection dot is logged, then I'm gonna send this message, because again, well, it's important to not have a connection that is not logged in. But anyways, folks, I think that's it for this video, and I should do off camera. It's not very hard to do that stuff, that validation. I just need, like, when I add a new user, I'm gonna store its address to some dictionary and stuff like that in Python, and then when I receive it, I will just validate before adding to this stuff. Okay, so that's it for this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed. This video was a little bit annoying because I was not sure about this stuff that I was doing, kinda. In the end, I was sure, but I was a little bit nervous about that. But probably in the next video, we should be able to start doing this in Blender, and things are gonna be a little bit more interesting. So I hope you had fun and you learned something in this video. If you have any questions or comment, leave in the comments that I'm gonna try to answer as fast as possible, and I see you in the next video.